Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, and welcome back to some more Kamihime Project. Now, this video, if you remember a long time ago, I did a showcase vid on some of the stuff I had at the time. Well, this is another one which is more up to date because a lot more stuff's been added to the game. So, if you are to stick around to see this, it's going to be a long one. But, this is also to try and get a little bit more feedback for the more advanced players because there's been quite a few strategies and whatnot to actually tackle this game because it honestly is quite versatile with how you can build everything. So you could be like me where you're trying to build on multiple teams, which I heard before isn't exactly a good idea, but I've got a lot of resources to do it with, which is why I tried for it. But there's the main strategy of trying to be element focused, and if you really want to be honest, there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to trying to get stronger. It tends to be whatever works for you because there's still a luck element where it's whatever the game throws at you. But there are some universal stuff we can all agree on. First and foremost, if you're a new player, please, for the love of God, re-roll for SSR. Particularly, there's three that really do come to mind for everybody, which tend to be Gaia, Soul, and Amaterasu. Those are the top three SSR from what I can tell. And I can easily see why Gaia and Soul is there, especially Awakened Gaia. And we will get Awakened Soul at some point, who's, in my opinion, the best SSR in the game at that point. But when it comes to Amaterasu, I don't know too much about her. But I'm talking about the original because there's multiple copies. And keep in mind, I haven't really gotten any limited Kamihime aside from two of them, and they were SR and R, so that's the whole thing with that one. And one thing I'm going to get right out of the way right here too is the accessory thing that's been staring at us on the page. I'm not going to go too into accessories because I haven't really touched it that much. Some rank 4 content I know for a fact I can clear. But again, I haven't really grinded it out because I really didn't give too much of a crap. But I did get one ring for clearing the rank 4 Thunder, and I did get some of these from the Gacha, which really got some decent stuff on them actually. But for the most part, this is what my accessories are looking like. It's like I got a handful of SR, I got a few SSR, and I got a couple of Rs I'm actually keeping. But other than that, I really don't give too much of a crap about the accessories right now because I'm still trying to build up stuff like skill level and all that. That's why I'm holding on to this mountain of gems sitting right here because I'm not awakening anybody or anything like that, so because I don't have the resources to do it yet. I could work on Thor, but I don't have the resources for it. I still gotta grind those out. Anyways, that's just to get the accessories out of the way. Pause it if you want to take a better look at what each one is, but I'm not going into full details that don't matter too much. But some of them you can clearly tell from the icons like defense, HP, gauge down, burst if you notice a flame right there. But that's all I really got. As far as I'm concerned, when you're just starting out, accessories always help. But when you start getting a whole bunch of them and can start handpicking them, that's when you need to pay attention to some more than others. But if you're just starting to get them, then any of them helps because they're all stat boosts at the very least. But there's also the fact that you have to be able to clear such content. And like I said in previous videos, rank 1 is expert level, rank 2 is ultimate level on the events. When you get strong enough in events, you should be able to clear rank 1 and rank 2 accessory quests. That's hands down. When you get really strong, because at my point I can clear Ragnarok, sometimes without elixirs too, but there's a few cases where I might end up having a little bit of a screw up or something doesn't happen the way it should and I end up burning an elixir. I've faced that with the Kyuki event. But when you hit my difficulty level, you should be able to clear Ragnarok, maybe even stuff harder than Ragnarok, and the only thing we got right now is rank 4 accessory. Eventually they'll put a rank 5, but we don't have to worry about that for the time being. But yeah, there's your general consensus on that one. I'm not even going to go too much into detail on that one. Now, when we go into my inventory, and I'm going to start with the one that has the least amount of stuff, the Eidolons. Now, I'm not going to go too much into certain effects, but I will point out notable ones I managed to get. First and foremost, from what I found out, base stats are probably the priority. So the more you can break a limit on the Adon, the better off you'll probably be with them. Personally, I would go for the ones that have, like, I'd level them all up regardless. At least to level 40 just to try and gauge things out. It's not just for the scenes where you can get the magic jewels, but you can sort of gauge out where the stats will be. Now, here's the thing. Gacha Adons have the highest potential, but event Adons you can be guaranteed to get all the way up if you grind enough. So it depends on what you can get better access to. As you can see right here, I got quite a few Adons that have 4 stars, some have 3, a lot of them have 2 or 1. But that's the whole thing with it. The ones that typically don't have any stars are gacha ones I haven't really pulled copies of, so. But this is definitely a gacha one I managed to get, and you can clearly see I have an event one right here, an event one right here, an event one right here, an event one right here. All their attack power is nothing compared to hers. Her HP is also much higher. That's what I mean about it. If you can keep pulling the gacha ones, then by all means use them. But starting target is definitely to try and just start max limit breaking them just so you got a few level 100s, because the stat boost is really nice. Not to mention some of their effects are pretty good too. Like, I'll go into a few effects. Like hers, she increases stun duration. She's kind of tricky to pull off, but yeah. This one's got a very good effect that you need to know about. And I'm pretty sure we'll get to revisit this event somewhere later down the line. But she gets an attack down. Now, that said, it goes in its own slot, and you can sip and get an additional attack decrease from her. That's why I tend to have her around, especially considering she's already level 100. So that, of course, is a very good thing to have. Also, when I try to go after level 100 stuff, I try to be somewhat picky towards what effects they give. Like this one I specifically wanted because she had definitely helped the water team. Because she increases the fire resistance of them, along with their attack power. But at the same time, she has a chance of reducing enemy turns. So that helps everyone. So it's like if you know an enemy's special attack is coming up pretty soon, I think it was called overdrives. But I think the official wiki said burst, but I don't know. But anyways, when those dots start filling up on enemies you don't want to get hit by their attacks, use her. There's a chance that she can sip and reduce one of those dots away. It's the same thing for Raphael if you have her, and a few other Kamihime I know can do it too. But that's the whole thing about that one. But that's why I tend to like her a little bit too. These two are picky because of the simple fact that they have some really specific stuff. This one throws a high level poison, so it deals almost, I think it deals 7,500. So that said, she'll do that per turn. Doesn't seem like much, but it really does add up over time. And this one increases thunder damage. When I'm using the thunder team, she's definitely helpful. Otherwise, she's useless. I tried working on her, but I couldn't finish her off. She gives attack up to everybody. And then there's pages upon pages. Keep in mind, most of these are event Eidolons. Like, I can point out the ones on this page that aren't. Like, you're from Gacha. You're from Gacha. You're from Gacha as well. That's all I can really point out on this page is from Gacha. Everybody else came from an event. But as you can see, I got pretty much all the loans. I just can't really get them all started up too much because of the fact that I haven't been able to really grind as much event points as I'd like. I can easily get a few million, but that's really it. When it comes to union events, your whole union has to do extremely well. There is no way, and I repeat, no way in hell we are getting 55 million points. That's why we're not going to get all of her. Because that's the current union event that's going on for this Phantom element. And she's a very good one to try and get to. Now, depending on what you might have, she might be okay for mixed element teams. But at the same time, you got to keep this in mind too, that one, for some strange reason, they haven't put a Phantom element selector in there, so I don't think you can pick her as a friend Eidolon. And two is the simple fact that when you start focusing on elemental builds, there's definitely still better options. Like, for instance, I had a Fenrir on the first page that gives me 50 attack and some burst damage increase, so yeah. And that's at all times. But then there's some more of this over here too. A few of them I just flat out did not care for. That's why I didn't really try to get multiple of them. And then I hope they do something with her. Because Diablos is, like, for starting players, her skill is definitely helpful because everybody gets an attack and an HP increase. So I honestly hope they do more of her. Because to be quite honest, if we can at least 4-star her, I do believe that would put her at 30% more HP and attack for everybody. That is a very good SR if you really think about it. But who knows? Who knows? And of course, I got enhanced materials right there. I'm not really worried about them too much. Now, here's where the video is going to start slowing down a little bit because I got a lot to go through. A lot of these SSR weapons, and even some cases I have this. Like, this is the one case I think I had that one. Because me, personally, I tend to focus on SSR. Because of the fact that events hand them out like crazy. But the thing that really gets me on that one is the fact that if you can manage to get a lot of copies of this, like the SR weapons, then they can make nice replacements. Like they hand them out in the raid events and whatnot, just for random draws or even getting the rewards. The raid bosses that you can always select from, they hand them out. If you do not grind for any of them, grind for the light ones from that one because light weapons are very hard to come by. But that's the whole thing. Now, like I said, this is where it's going to slow down because I have to go into each one. Because as you can see, they all have different sort of effects. But this is the main thing is skill levels. On average, you'll see my skill levels be anywhere between skill level 6 and 12. So I'll be in that range usually. There's a very few that I haven't gotten much higher. And 2 reasons why is because of the simple fact that I haven't really grinded out too much to build up skill levels. Most of my gyms have been focusing on upgrading Kamihime, but there's times where I pull in a gacha and just sip and try and just go beefing up weapons before an event. The only other exceptions to the rule is the pride weapons. I may or may not try to level them up because they're not too useful until your HP starts getting low. The only exception is that is if you get their skill levels extremely high. But the main reason, too, is the fact that you still want to try and break limit these, get them all up there. I'm not going to go after each and every one, but I'm just showing off just a few. Like, this is Gaia's weapon, which I managed to pull off a few times. This wasn't even from an event. So, yeah, there you go. It seems like the game really wanted me to have her. I got her with little to no effort. There's Sevarog's weapon, which I pull multiple times. I think that's Thor's right there. There's another Pride weapon. I think I didn't even really touch this one. Yeah, see, skill level 4. No, this one, I do believe, I just went over it, was Sevarog's. This is one of the ones that really beefed up. Yeah, see, she's almost done. She's almost done. Like, that's the whole thing with that. But there's a lot of these I really just haven't leveled up too much because I haven't done too much weapon grinding. I really could, but I'm getting sidetracked by events and in multiple games too, so that's another thing. This one I pulled from the Gacha, I do believe. And I did level it up quite a bit. Yes, E11. And to be quite honest, there's a slight, like, I don't know how to really explain it because it really is a difference of opinion. By all means, go after the assault weapons because you definitely do want to cause more damage. Now, the misconception is the HP ones, because you got to keep this one thing in mind. If you don't have the HP to survive an attack, then what good is the attack power going to do for you? But at the same time, you don't want to get too much HP to take up your slots. So that's more based on what you feel like it should be. But that's just my opinion on it. Don't neglect your HP weapons, but don't fill yourself up with them too. But yeah, see, here's a few more I really haven't even touched. I still got to break limit this. But there's some that's just like totally untouched. Like I broke limit it, but I didn't really level it up. I didn't skill level it. Plus it's a pride weapon. I'm not really focused on pride weapons. I'll get to them when I get to them, but I'm not truly focused on skill leveling them. I'll level them up for the stats because that's easily a level 100 weapon right there. Now flat out say this. If you can get a level 100 SR, I mean a level 100 SSR, then it's definitely going to add up to better stats and a lot of other stuff in the game. Like, look at this. This is fully broken, fully leveled up SR. And this is a level 100 SSR. It is already 2 points higher, but it gives you way more stuff. However, the reason why I got this one, skill level 18. Like, you can't deny that one. That is my highest level skill level. 18 is the highest I've hit on anything, but this is easier to hit than that one. But I bet you if I threw this weapon at anyone on the board at any point, I'd instantly get a 100% chance to build it up. Because that is roughly worth, like each SR is worth 3.5 R weapons, so you gotta multiply that by 18. So it's worth over 54 R weapons, so that's more than enough to level up anything. So that's a guaranteed skill increase if I really wanted to use it. Now here's a whole bunch of stuff I'm just sitting on. I can max break this, I can max break this, I think I can max break that one. Yeah, I could. This is all going to be skill enhancement after this event's over. Okay, so maybe this video isn't going to be as long as I thought, but you get what I mean. Because I really could make this much, much longer by going into the skill levels of each weapon, but I typically tend to show off my grid weapons anyways, because all those SSR are in the grid somewhere, even if they're really low pride level weapons. Because it's still an increase. It's still an attack increase. The only exceptions are the ones I haven't really put anything towards, but you see I got all these enhanced materials to do it with. But I couldn't really go into full breakdown for those. Now this one, I'm not even going to sort by highest attack. I'm going to sort it by rarity before I show these off. Because that's the main thing I want to do. Now, granted, I have these too. I don't have the materials to awaken them. Believe me when I say this, if I was able to, she's first, and then she's next. However, there's others that might get the chance to do it. I know she becomes pretty strong when awakened. She becomes very strong when awakened. I am waiting on hers. So yeah, there you go. But just to show off. And her base attack power is pretty up there too. But here's the main reason why you want her. If you really do want to focus on the Thunder team anyways. She does insane stun damage and then got a defense down to go with it. Also ups her own attack power. And then just having her in the group is an attack power increase as well. Now, the thing with assist abilities is the odd part. Some assist abilities don't work on the entire group. Like, one, for instance, was a white character I'll eventually get to. It only works for her. So, that's the one thing you gotta pay attention to. Is like, if it doesn't seem like it did too much of a change, then there's a chance it may only be towards that character. But some you'll blatantly see if it's towards the character or not. But this is why I like her a lot. She's got one serious ability nuke. I even upped her ability damage with the accessories I got because why not? They're already suited towards her. It's just a simple fact that there's still better stuff that I can get. That much I know. But as a starter, that's a very good start. Besides, if something does a high damage hit count, or if something does a lot of damage, then you'll definitely notice even the slightest changes, so that's something to know. But it still helps. But this is another reason why you really want her to. A stackable attack down. But it's only for a period of 5 turns, so you only really get three stacks on it at most. It will keep alternating between 2 and 3. When you awaken her, I know she can do it more often. And it stays longer, I do believe. I think it stays for 6 turns, I think. 6 or 7? I don't know. I gotta double check that. But she's got self-sustain. And I'm going into full details of the SSR, the notable ones that I think. I'm getting very close to getting her ability buffed up again. She's like 2 levels off. But Yeah, this is the one that's going to do that. It's going to, like, I don't know if it nullifies the damage for everybody, but I do know this defense up becomes a damage null, at least for itself, so. But it covers all allies, too, so. But this is something that really helped me out in a recent event. It gives you a regenerate, and a powerful one at that. I think it's 400 per turn. But, that gives you regenerate, damage cut, and thunder resistance. I use this with Joan's ability to damage cut as well. The two of them combined gave me no damage whatsoever from a rank 3 accessory fight. And keep in mind, this is the boss's burst nuke without raging, where it's pretty much guaranteed to kill you. No, it's not with that. She was hit with so many attack downs and then had two forms of damage cut that stacked on top of each other to the point where I didn't take any damage at all. But Gaia is a must-have. Regardless of what team you have, she's a must-have. Yeah, she's a little weak to fire, but her abilities are very good, especially if you can awaken her like I did. When her awakening was available, I gunned for it. Now, another one I really went for was Thor, but we'll get to her later. And I'll let you know why. Kucheling's another very good one that can build up her combo pretty well, because this gives her, I think this gives her 20 burst gauge. She forces triple attack on her for 2 turns, which gives you a grand total of 80 burst gauge right there. And then she can nullify enemy attacks by power up her attack power during all of that, so Kucheling's a very good win one. If you need a damage nuker for that team, she's a very good one, but she's more combo oriented and burst oriented once you fill her gauge up. But give her like 4 or 5 turns, she'll automatically have the gauge filled up. We'll get another Kamihime that can do that later down the line. But Akala. Akala is an interesting one because she'll increase her burst gauge in 2 forms. I forget what this does for a burst gauge increase, but this one is a raw, I think it's a raw 15 to 25. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it does give you like a turn and a half at least. But she also does major damage to raging enemies. She's a raging nuke through and through, if you really want to be honest, because she's got mode gauge reduction along with it. Her combo rate's up while enemies in rage. The only downside is that she really lowers her defenses when her attack power goes up. That's the only downside. But she's a strong attacker too. I don't know if she gets awakenings or not. This is one I love, and honestly, if you want a fire team, you need to get her too. But Sevarog, she's a very, very good one. She increases her ability damage, can keep doing it further and further. This says stackable once. That's a misnomer. Because what that means is you can keep spamming that ability to keep stacking the damage of her next attack, which would be the Crimson Inferno. So you can use this once and give a slight buff to Crimson Inferno. You can use it 4 times to get a major buff. You can stack it 10 times if you happen to last that long throughout the whole thing. And give an astonishing nuke to this. That's what that means. Once you use Crimson Inferno, all the buffs from this go away. It boosts the damage for that one use, and then all the buffs go away. That's what that means. She's not the only Kamihime that can do it, but she's the one that does it the best. And then this is what also helps. This is a stackable attack up, which is, honestly, I think the only one that can really do this. And it's stackable multiple times. Currently it's stackable 3 times. I think it goes 4, maybe even 5 when she awakens. I'm waiting for her awakening just so I can do that. Because each one is 10%, so you could stack everybody's attack up to at least 40% when that awakening hits. I'm waiting for hers. Heck, even if you aren't fire focused, I believe you should get her just for that, because stackable is in its own frame, so you can really spike your attack power. Speaking of spiked attack power, her awakening sends her damage to skyrocketing, but she's already quite strong normally. She increases her own burst gauge growth rate. I do believe it's an extra 50% for each hit. So it's like if she hits once instead of getting 10, she gets 15. So yeah. I don't know the exact numbers. I just know it's somewhere around that ballpark. This one, it's an interesting ability because she takes away some of her own HP per turn with a very low scorch, but spikes the crap out of her attack power. And then this is an interesting little assist ability that goes in hand with that as well. Her combo rate also goes up when she does that. So yeah. And this says deals fire damage 5 times to random enemies. Honestly, you can get a single target nuke with this. This thing does a lot of damage. My current attack power, I've easily seen it do 200k plus per use. And keep in mind, when she awakens, she just gets even further. But speaking of awakened characters, again, I don't really have the resources to keep buffing her up right now. So that's why I haven't really worked on her too much. But Awakened Thor. I do believe this has already got its ability boost. But this originally was a stackable, I think this was a stackable ability boost just like Sevarog, but now it's changed to just a flat ability damage increase and attack up based on our lost HP. But that's only one turn. So if you're going to use it, make sure you can use both of these at the same time. Especially in combination with this. Those two combined do some major damage if you're low on HP. But that's the whole thing. The lower her HP, the higher this gives an attack boost, but it still gives a flat one regardless. The lower her HP, the more damage this deals. But I think it heals up to 1500 HP. Now, this is the one that most people even want her. But when she gets successful with the status hit from this, the enemy can't do crap for 15 seconds, regardless. When I get far enough in her awakening, it becomes 30 seconds. So half a minute, I can just keep spamming the attack, and nothing will happen from the enemy, period. That is a very powerful ability. It's extremely powerful, because you got to keep this in mind. You can get turns off while that's happening. That builds up the burst combos for everybody. That also builds up the fact that you can sip and have abilities used and go through turns, not even taking damage. That, and it can also help you better prepare for setting up when, like, say you don't want to get hit with an enemy's attack under a certain mode, you can help bypass that mode with this. That's why she's powerful. She's honestly underrated. Speaking of another underrated one, I do believe Raphael is as well. Now, this one, it's not too crazy, but it does seem to stick kind of often. But it applies dizziness, and sometimes it causes the enemy to pass a turn. That's one thing. This is where I believe she's underrated, because these two are very powerful skills when used right. First off, this one deals damage, reduces enemies' charge gauge by 1. What that is, if you remember earlier when I showed you that at Dolan, I think it was Jack Frost, where she's up and has a chance of removing somebody's turn, Raphael's got a better chance of doing that. So that will sip and remove one charge off the turn thing. Almost all the time I've seen it work. I think it's like based on my experience, it's worked 75% of the time, so that's a very good success rate. I don't know the exact details for it, but it does work a lot. And combined with other characters too, like Mordred, where she can sip and extend the gauge so they take another turn, that's a 2-turn difference from what it was. So say somebody gets 2 turns off, like 2 attacks off, and the next thing you know, they're going to burst you with their special attack. Her combined with Mordred turns it into 4, basically. Just for that split second, though, because Mordred gives a flatline 3-turn thing. This one gives you a quick second just in case you need it. But this also helps when you need to nuke the raging bar. So if you want a boss to stay out of raging, this is helpful for that. But it's all around getting an attack reduction for that enemy. So that's a very good one to have too. Like, she's honestly underrated. Plus, she's become one of my top 2 among my favorites because she's cute. I like her a lot. Speaking of another one I'm starting to like a lot too. Now, this version of Tsukiyomi is an SSR, but she comes with some very good stuff. If you've seen when I pulled her, I was surprised at her abilities, and believe me, they were definitely worth it. But this one, blindness sometimes works, but it it sometimes doesn't. There's a misconception about this description too. It's not blind to one enemy, it's blind to them all. She hits every enemy on the field with this. So that's very good. This is a self buff to her where she gets more light attack and more dark resistance. I wish it was party wide, but hey, it works. It still works. But this is where it really helps you out here. This does insane light damage if there's a dark enemy that gets hit with it. But regardless of who gets hit with it, it reduces their light resistance, meaning they'll start taking more damage from your light characters. This is why I can honestly believe others when they say she's a core to the light team. Because it really helps their damage output. It really did make a noticeable difference when I seen that. So yeah. Combined with her, Raphael, and Soul, I do believe I could probably clear the rank 4 Dark accessory quest, but I haven't tried it. Again, accessories aren't really my main focus right now because there's still extra stuff. I'm still trying to get the basic stuff down for my team, even though I got a lot to work with. And speaking of a lot to work with, oh boy, this one. She's easily one of my favorites as well. More so because of these abilities. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's cute too, but she's got a lot. I mean, a lot. She's already insane when you look at this because heals everybody, and heals them by a lot too, while removing an affliction from them. That alone is very good. But we'll get to why she gets insane later. She can deal light damage to somebody and nullify one of their empowerments. Meaning that if they got a buff like attack up or defense up, say goodbye to that. She lowers the attack power of enemies. And not just one, all of them. But when you awaken her, it gets even more insane because this heal becomes even more powerful. I think it removes up to two afflictions. I don't know if it does 2 or not, but the heal alone is way more worth it because I think she starts healing like 20,000. I mean, not 20,000, 2,000. Yeah, she healed 20,000, that'd be insane. But, she heals at least 2,000, I do believe, after that point. And then, I don't know if the affliction becomes 2. What does become 2 is this. I know for a fact that this becomes removing 2 buffs from an enemy. That is very good. And then this gets stronger, but that's always welcome. But I can say this without a doubt, that even if there's healers that heal more, she's still the game's best healer. And she just gets even more powerful when she awakens. I am looking forward to it. If you want to reroll or use miracle tickets on anybody, she's the one to go for, regardless. Especially being light-based, because light characters have no weakness. Neither do dark either. But Aphrodite, she came out of nowhere as a surprise, and she's also still pretty good as well. But, and I think she does get awakened later. I don't know. I gotta recheck that wiki. But this one, she's got a pretty strong heal as well. And then applies a regeneration to herself to make sure she stays in the fight longer. That's very good. She removes afflictions as well. But she also gives herself, like, if you know a Mon who you get very, very early in the storyline, where she puts an ability on everybody where it blocks an affliction, well, Aphrodite does the same, but only for herself. So not only is she removing afflictions, but also she's not getting hit with one the next time one tries to stick. Then she also increases everybody's combo rate. Hers more so because it's upping the double and triple rate, not just the triple rate for herself. But that's the main gimmick with her. I don't know if Awakening takes away some of that, makes it party-wide, but I don't know. Either way, Awakenings always help. But that's the main gimmick with her. Does one thing for the party, but does another thing for herself on top of it. She's got quite a bit of sustain for a healer, and of course you want your healers to stay alive. But that's all the SSR I really have to show off. Now, I'm showing off some SR that definitely are worth it and notable. Best Stats one of them, especially for a Darkness team. You see why right here. From what I can tell, this does increase everybody's HP, so that's one thing to know about. So just having her in a group is an HP increase. but she has to be frontline. But this ability right here, darkness damage, and also does blind. It tends to stick somewhat decently. I've seen it stick about half the time. Again, don't take exact word for it. It's like estimates based on my experience. But then she ups everybody's ability damage. Remember Susanoo, who had the strong nuke? With her, it's even stronger. Then on top of that, ups everybody's dark attack. Now, this is where she really shines because of the fact that this is not an attack buff. This is an elemental buff, and they go in their own slots. So that said, she's increasing your dark attack power on top of what everybody else is doing for an attack power boost. If you really want to do a serious damage spike, I would say this. Get a team of 3 dark characters. Like, if I was going to pull the strategy off, it would be Bastet. It'd be Beelzebub, who I'll get to later. It'd be Susanoo O. I'd probably have a soul that gives an attack buff, like, say, Arthur, but of a different element. Then I'd have Sevarog, who got the stackable attack up. All of a sudden, my dark team's going to be doing a lot of damage with that dark Wilm. See, that's the thing why I mentioned about the Wilm strategies and all that in a few videos. Like, that can really massively spike damage output, but it's at the sacrifice of 2 members. So, it's slightly worth it, but only if you can really, really pull off a lot of damage. But like I said, we'll get to Beelzebub later, because, she's another one for a dark team that you honestly might want. I know I definitely did, once I seen what she's able to do. Now, these two are decent, but not really too much to go over. This one's actually pretty good. Iblis, she's got some stuff to come with it. Remember how I said Bastet's was an elemental attack boost? She does the same for wind. So it's outside the attack buffs, it's on its own little thing. She decreases everybody's attack and defense down. So there you go. She decreases all that too. She also blinds every enemy. So she's practically Bastet, only instead of the ability increase, she does a decrease in attack and defense. She's one to look out for as well. And keep in mind, I'm still on page 1 with this stuff too. I like this one too because she does some decent stuff. Now, here's the whole thing with this. I don't know if that's for other people, but it does seem to up everybody's combo rate from what I can tell. But again, I don't know for sure. But what really makes her shine is this ability right here. It's another elemental one. And then on top of that, she can do some decent fire damage. But she also increases her attack power based on her HP loss as well. So she can really spike up her damage for herself and others. This is why if I just go all out damage, I have a fire team of Arthur or Siegfried if I need a burst nuke. Then I have Sevarog, Akala, Ares, and her. That's why I use them for if I ever have the chance to just go all out without having to worry about healing. Because that is a very destructive combo. Now I'm going to just take a peek at some of these other ones because I don't remember what they do, but I can show off what they do sometimes. Like, see, there's some decent stuff with hers too, but I'm not really going to go into full details. Pause it if you want. Because that's the whole point of this video, to try and show them off. But the video is going to be long as is, so I can't really just stick around for it. Cronus I got to point out too, because she's got some interesting stuff. And she has surprisingly high attack for SR characters, so she's not bad for the wind ones. Now, here's some notable stuff she does. Lowers enemies' attack, but increases her own. That has come in handy quite a few times when I was using her. I have gotten better Kamihime where they can step and support the team more. But that's one thing. This is the same thing as Sevarog's ability damage stacking. And Thor's if you haven't awoken her. Keep using it. Next time she lets this skill off, it's going to do a lot of damage. So, that's one thing to know about with her. I honestly liked using her for what it was worth, but I don't see too much point in having her anymore unless I just need to go all out wind damage, but I got better Kamihime for that. one of them sitting nearby. But this is another one I wanted to go through. Beelzebub. A lot of people pull for her too, rightfully so. Now, this, I don't know if it works for everybody, but Rampage already gives a huge attack boost anyways. But, this is the reason why you want her. She's definitely a good supporter character, but you have to use her correctly. All as attack up, that's hands down, always use that, always spam it. Unless you have a better one, in which case, like, when I have a dark team, I tend to alternate between Arthur's attack up and her attack up. That way, like, Arthur's only has a 5-turn cooldown, and then this has a 6-turn. But they both last for 3 turns, so I can literally alternate between them and never lose an attack buff. As long as those two stay alive. But this is where you might need to pay attention to how you're using her. She can increase everybody's double attack rate, which is a decent increase. I've seen noticeable difference, but at the cost of everybody's defense. If you've seen in one of my recent videos, I managed to use it no sweat, because I had enough HP to really not worry about that. Other players may not, so that's where you might need to be careful about this. Best time to do is when the enemy's in stun, because you already got a high attack, double attack rate anyways. This just spikes it further to nearly guarantee it. Not to mention, when the enemy's stunned, you're probably not going to get hit too hard anyways. But this, if you need to deal a lot of damage in a short time, there you go for this one. The only downside to this is the fact that it practically doubles your damage, but at the cost of not being able to do anything but normal attacks. Even bursts won't go off under that. But when you need to get normal hits off, there you go. A good combo is just throw all 3 of these on at once and just go from there. But again, only use that defense down if you're really sure you're not taking too much damage. Otherwise, you might regret it. Especially if the enemy's about to nuke you really hard. I've seen team-wide nukes wipe people out. Here's another one I think is notable, just for one ability and one ability alone. This one increases their ability damage, nothing too special. This one's got a really random modifier, but if you get that times 5 water damage with this off, that's pretty good. Especially if you get this. Damage up against stunned enemies. This helps in 2 cases. One is her burst. This allows her to be a strong burst nuke alongside Siegfried. I've seen that strategy, I've used that strategy. However, I've also tested it out, having this up, and using this all at the same time while the enemy's stunned. It did her burst damage like that. And she didn't have burst ready. So that's something else to pay attention to. She's a bit awkward to use as well, but worth it if you can use her right. I don't remember what you do. I'm just going to take a quick peek. Okay, yeah, you up your triple, you got attack up. Okay, she's got a chance of boosting her combo pretty nicely. Not bad, not bad. Now, this is one I definitely feel like I have to point out if you have her, the original Tsukiyomi. Because she's another awkward one to use. Increases attack power, that's pretty nice. Dark damage all enemies. Sort of okay. This is the one where I tell you have to be careful of. Blinds everybody on the field at a chance. It's practically guaranteed to blind your whole team. So you have to have some sort of debuff mitigation or somebody to remove it in order to have a chance against this. That's why I say you have to be careful with her. That's the only thing I have to point out. Otherwise, you're probably better off using blind from something else. A lot of dark characters have blind, so it's not too hard to find a sub for that. My suggestion is to not use that ability. Here's another one I really have to point out because she's a very good healer as well. Plus, I liked her for a long time. But she can deal light damage and deal an attack down. That's a very good one. She could sip and remove an affliction from everybody and increase their defense as well. That's another good one. And then she applies regeneration to everybody. If you really want to be honest, with the way her abilities work, she's honestly an SSR in disguise. It's just the fact that her stats are lower. If her stats were higher among the SSR, she could easily be passed off as one. I'm not even kidding on that. And her regeneration is actually pretty okay if you can sip and get it to last a few turns. But if you need immediate healing, that's a different story. But anyways, getting on to this one. This one is specific to an event we had already. So if you don't have her, then you're just kind of SOL into the repeat. But I use her on my win team, and with good reason. She can hit 4 enemies up to 4 enemies with this one, but I tend to use it on just one. So this is a nice little damage nuke. She can apply poison, and the poison rate's somewhat high. But this is the other reason why I keep her too, because of the fact that she can buff attack power. She's a nice substitute for when I need a different type of soul to do something else. Like I usually get Joan, and usually have sniper shot on Joan, unless I'm using somebody else. Although I had Joan with outrage, and then use her along with Aisha, or Guan Yu as you can call her as well. Her mod's another one I feel like I gotta point out too, because she's a little bit tricky. Because here's the thing. She can apply intercept, meaning if she gets hit while that's going on, she'll send some damage back to the enemy. That's a very good one to have. Her double attack chance can sip and go up too. I don't know if it's for everybody else. This is a decent damage skill, but more so if you use this ability right here, where she increases both combo rates and her attack power, but at the cost of dealing damage to herself. It's just like Ares' ability, where she sticks a debuff on her that deals damage to herself. But the thing is, the difference, like, there's a big difference in how much damage they take. Ares doesn't take too much damage at all. I think it's like 5% or less. Her case, she takes 10% of her HP lost every time you do this. But the thing with this is the fact that it has 1 turn cooldown, so you could honestly have this every single turn. But the thing is going to likely put her in a bad position if you spam it. That's why you gotta be careful about this skill. So many benefits, but it really hurts her in the end if you spam it. I was using her for a while. I forgot where this one came from too, but she's another decent one to have. I have her on my light team right now just because of these 2 buffs right here. Attack up to everybody, double attack rate up, and she can deal light damage to all enemies if you really want, but that's not why I really keep her. But I just had to go through that really quickly. In fact, I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit more. I remember you were a nuker, but I really wasn't trying to focus on that one. This is one I feel like people need to get pointed out to as well. Because she's got a lot of stuff, as you can see. She has an attack down that deals damage. She has combo rate down that deals damage, and this works on every enemy. She heals herself and can buff herself with attack and defense. This is why I feel like you needed to point her out, because of the simple fact that she's pretty good like this. Now, this is another one I feel like needs pointed out as well, because I've used her a lot. Now, she's got a lot of interesting stuff here. I don't know if it's to herself or to the whole group, but she can really lower the mode gauge. Not just through this, but through this as well. When you hit a raging enemy, this will sip and reduce some of the gauge. Just like Soul's ability. No, Raphael's ability, I believe. Just like Raphael's ability, it will sip and reduce some mode gauge. But this one also does damage. But also she has this one, which extends the stun duration. And it's better than the summon that on Huang Long. It's better than the summon that one. So yeah. And then this one, like Huang Long you get from the Gacha, by the way. But this one, attack and defense down, but also increases her own attack and defense. And general rule I need to point out too, when it increases 2 stats or decreases 2 stats, it tends to be B frame. I've never seen one that ended up being A frame or C frame, and of course it's not stackable, unless it says that. If it's stackable, then that'd be godly, but that's the whole thing with that one. She's got some interesting little debuffs and buffs as well. And then increased stun duration always helps too. I don't remember what you do. Okay, attack null, scorch, fire damage. Decent stuff, but not really noteworthy. She's pretty much there if you don't have anything by to fill the spot, I guess. But Laura's one to know about too. And here's the main reason why. First and foremost, when you're going to use her abilities, don't ever, and I repeat, don't ever use either two of these without using this first. Get that affliction resistance down, because the only other characters I've seen have it, I think was maybe Cthulhu. I might be wrong on that one, but it's one of the SSR Kamihime I don't have. But also Mordred. Mordred's is stronger though. Other than that, you're going to find it through maybe a couple of a couple of other ones. One was a gacha and one was an event one. That's why she's noteworthy. She's instantly worth it just for that. But also she's got all these status effects she can stick on somebody, along with that lovable paralysis ability. Remember Thor, where she can stick it for 15 seconds, and the enemies just can't do anything until that time's up? She can do the same thing at a lower rate. But at the same time, she applies Scorch and Blindness along with it. But then she gets Poison and Dizziness. She's like a mini version of Mordred, if you really ask me. But still worth it. This one I know I have to point out a little bit too, because I've been using her somewhat. But deals water damage, explanatory. But this is why I use her. Affliction resistance up, burst gauge increase up. I don't know if it's a raw burst gauge addition or just the rate it goes up. I don't know. But also applies a defense buff. Using her in combination with Nikke, who everybody should have, I can go back and forth between the two of them and never have a defense buff off me. Keep in mind, if any skills that are buffs have a 6-turn cooldown, just find somebody else with it. You can have that buff on you at all times. Speaking of buffer too, they even handed this one out through a promotional code, but I pulled her extremely early, and she's been on my Thunder team since. But the whole thing with this one, everything she does has a chance of putting dizziness on stuff. This one to all enemies. But she's very good at causing dizziness. They call it dazzle on the JP side, and that's the whole reason why. Because she's an idol, she's supposed to be dazzling. But that's the best way to put that. Gives a raw burst gauge increase to everybody for this ability. Gives everybody attack and defense up for this ability. This is why she's been on my Thunder team ever since I got her. I haven't found anybody to really replace a buffer. Keep in mind, we're still on page 2 because there's still some noteworthy girls to go over too. This one especially. This one's been a great addition to my team ever since I got her. But she gets an attack down and a mode gauge reduction all in the same skill, but also randomly increases somebody's attack power on your team. Too bad I can't control who it is. But I've seen it happen a lot of times to be on the front line. Or herself. Again, that's just my personal experience, but I have seen it pop on Susano, who's on my front line, and my god, does that ability spike up when she nukes with that one. But this is another one too. Like I think it was Belphegor, but like that ability where it increases stun duration, this one does the same, but also lowers the enemy's defense and increases an ally's defense. That's very good to have too. And then she's got a poison, which is so-so. But the poison does seem to override Mordred, so yeah. Maybe it's more poison damage, I don't know. Because each buff like that has its own little uniqueness to it, either the damage it does or something. But I've heard she's one to go after, and I've already got her, so. This one came from an event, and she's surprisingly okay. That's why I said okay. Like, she's good, but she's not, oh, I have to have her good. But she can up her own combo rate, reduce the mode gauge reduction, and deal a wind nuke on raging enemies. So she's very good at raging breaking, and I've honestly used her in a few cases where I had to do that. And now finally getting on to page 3. Mauve, I don't know. I don't think I really have to go too much into her. She's somewhat okay, but not really something noteworthy. I think she was an event one. Freya, I think, is one I have to point out. Because she could single target heal somebody. So if you need somebody with specific healing, that's the reason why you need her. Because I've seen it happen a few times where one of my characters just kept getting hit and they just didn't want to hit nobody else. She came in handy when that happened. Because I was testing her out at the time. Single target attack and defense up. Single target intercepted that an ally, but she also applies it to herself. She's more single target buffing and healing, but she can help. When you really need to focus on one character, that's where she kicks in. But she did work as a backup healer because, focused healing. Like, for instance, having Gaia and her is a good combination because Gaia can focus attack to herself. Now, this one I do believe came from an event. But she's been very, very good since. She buffs everybody's attack and defense. I've stacked Nikke's defense buff with hers. It really helps. But increase the burst gauge growth rate. It doesn't really do too much. It really doesn't. I think it only goes up at like 2 or 2.5. So it's like 12.5 per hit. It's not that great. But this is definitely great. Defense down. It's the same frame as the one from Gawain. So that's one thing to notice. It can be a fill-in for that. So that's one thing to know about. And I wasn't kidding when I said we're going to be here for a while because it's been almost an hour. And I'm not done with Kamihime. This is why I didn't want to go through each and every weapon. I don't know what you do. Let me take a quick peek. Oh, okay, yeah. This one's actually worth noting too a little bit. Because she's got the same rampaging buff as Beelzebub, but also applies regeneration. And can dizzy something. So yeah, she's noteworthy. I wouldn't really go too after her because she's fire, but she can be a healer for her fire team, so. And I know fire team is definitely lacking in healers. My best one's going to end up being Brunhilde, and that, well, I haven't really broke her up. Speaking of which, both of them are nearby each other, but I'm not going to that yet. Ithaqua, I just got her, and she's got some stuff. She can focus attacks. I've used this a few times to actually survive some stuff. Like, I had her, when I was leveling her one time going through the Kyuki fight, and I think this is also the same time when I got that one video out where everybody died at the end. My team and Kyuki herself. But I used this. It focused a lot of the damage from her raging to her. I made her a sacrificial pawn, but it did work in the end. So that's possible. She can heal everybody too. But she also wind damage and causes poison. Not just that, but she's the only Kamihime I have seen so far to apply a status effect while bursting. So that's one thing to notice. And yeah, if you haven't seen that video, go look at it because the end result is funny. But the thing is, too, is the fact that if you do end up in that situation, it still counts as you winning as long as you are not, I repeat, are not behind on rounds. What I mean is, if you have another round incoming, you've lost. That has to be your last round where you lose everybody, but still kill the enemy. This one's another one I should point out, too. Attack up, applies intercept and burst gauge, so she kind of helps herself quite a bit. I don't know if this goes to everybody, though. And then thunder damage. Now, if I feel like I should point somebody out, they're worth looking into, trust me on that one. Some are clearly better than others, but they all have nice little perks. Like, for instance, this one. Diana. I honestly would go after her more than Artemis. Mainly because of this. Buffs everybody's attack power. can buff her own attacking power even further, along with defense power, and I do believe that heals herself, but also lowers the enemy's defense, and that's the same frame as that the ability from the Souls, Gwen's ability, I believe. So that's worth going after too. No, I need to go after both Brunhilders and show off these. She's a limited one, but there's a difference in their abilities, a major difference. First off, she's light and the other one's fire. But secondly, she only heals one ally, but also increases her dark resistance. So that's something to know about. Increases, I think, her own double attack rate, but there's also this too. But then deals light damage. But she is nothing, and I repeat, nothing compared to her fire version, which is just all around better. Because first and foremost, light her light version only did damage to one enemy. This one does it to all of them. Light one, at the cost of healing only one ally, gave dark resistance. This one just flat out heals everybody, and it's a strong heal if you get her level 70. I mean 65. Yeah, 65 to 70. The other one, I do believe, also just upped her own double attack rate. This one ups everybody's double attack rate with their attack power. This is the one to definitely have. If you missed out on the other one, don't worry, because she's not as worth it as you think. She's just there for extra scenes and jewels. I mean, granted, healers are always welcome, but at the same time, still way better than your other counterpart. Now, as for Oberon, I use her a lot too, and for a very good reason. Attack down, defense down. And they're both A-frame, I do believe. Like, that's the one I know for sure is A-frame. And then she's got a chance of doing dizziness. Combine her with Mordred or anybody that can sip and up the success rate of ailments, and she's very good. Otherwise, she's going to miss quite often with these three skills. But she's also usable in my attack down stacking thing, which I came to find out it has a limit. So yeah, I can't go all out on it, but that's something to know about. But Oberon's worth pulling. This one came from an event, I remember. But she's pretty good too. She can sip and up everybody's attack power. She's got this little damage nullification if she gets hit. If she gets hit. And then does wind damage to one enemy. I was using her for a while until I got my hands on Aisha. Which is on Guan Yu. I don't know too much about you. We're going to take a peek. Whoa, go back, go back. Ah, I didn't know I had that. So wait, I got two fire characters that can do that technically? Because the mono counts as one as well. But affliction resistance, that's worth noting. Attack up, that's worth noting. Heal self and defense up. See, that's the only thing that's downsiding her. Because she'd be just as good as Brunhilde if she could sip and heal. At least in my opinion. The raw heal itself, no, but the buff capability, because Fire Team's lacking and people can remove debuffs as well, and that definitely helps towards it. I know I was using you, and you're worth pointing out. Another healer. She puts regen on everybody, but also got an ailment affliction removal. So she got that. And then she can apply drown to somebody without while doing damage. But these are the main two reasons why I use her. Because you really want to be honest, on my water team, I can get 3 healers. Four if I use a soul. Now, she's from Storyline. She's a decent damage nuke, but if you want to know about her, just advance far enough. She's nothing too noteworthy until you get, like, unless you get other spots. This one is an interesting one because she's a status effective type of character, but causes poison, blind, and putrefy. So that's okay. If you need something to cause status effects, that's the way to go. But the only status effects you really should worry on is a paralysis where they can't do anything for a certain amount of time, dizziness which might block a turn, and then blind which might make them miss. Those are like the only three you truly have to focus on. Anyways, Lubu, or Ren as she's called on the other one, she gets an attack defense down and then applies rampaging to herself. Those are the only two things that are noteworthy. This one is just an ability damage nuke. If you didn't get her, it's not too much of a setback. It really isn't. Again, she's with Aisha with that event. So when they re-roll again, like when they come around again, you'll get another shot at her. But if there's any Kamihime we got from a previous raid event, then there's going to be a gacha for them, I believe. Amon, everybody does get, but I still feel we should go over her anyway, because of these freaking abilities right here. She can deal dark and fire damage, so up against the light enemy, she's also got some usefulness. But at the same time, blocks affliction, and then she increases her own burst gauge. This is the main reason why I've seen people use her. That's the whole reason why I had to point her out. And she's free. You get her right after the first area. But I don't think anybody else is on page 3. Yeah, you're noteworthy on page 3. Just for this one ability. Well, these few abilities, actually. Because she's self-sustainable. She can cut all damage to herself. So say, for instance, oh hey, guess what? I don't have a damage reduction ability, and I'm about to get nuked pretty hard. She can avoid that. She can apply Reflect to herself as well, which will just send damage back. Honestly, she's just using these two at the same time. And then she can heal herself while dealing light damage. That's why I feel like you should point her out. She's not necessary for teams, but she can help for somewhat defensive setups. I think that's the last of page 3. Yeah, that's the last of page 3. Okay, on to page 4. We all know about Nikke, but I'm still going over her anyway. Maybe just in case there's new players. But, she can help your water team for who knows how long. Even other teams, as long as you're not up against a thunder enemy. Water damage, so-so. But this is the reason why you keep her. Her heal is somewhat okay, but there's definitely other healers that can do better. And then there's the defense up. Again, others can do better. But she's definitely a nice start. You cannot say you do not have a healer. Because if push comes to shove, bring in Nikke. You can't say if you have a decent healer or not. Just like Nikke Sabo, you get at some point through the storyline. Me personally, I like her, but I've got other Kamihime that can do better. But she can increase her own attack and defense, she can lower the enemy's attack and defense, and she can nullify attacks dealt to her one time. So, these are reasons why she's actually pretty good. A lot of people use her for that attack defense though. And I really could too, but I got Mordred who can do the same thing only at a lesser rate. Or, I could put in Artanian and do it at a higher rate. And again, I was going to go over the Souls too. They're coming up after this. This is the one I was talking about long before, where it's like her ability only works on herself. And I was kind of disappointed because of that. But anyways, she's still a decent buffer. Because she can up attack, power, ability, damage, and burst gauge. But the thing is, she ups her own burst gauge when using an ability. So what this all equates to is the fact that, I think this ups a burst gauge by 10. So, she ups her own burst gauge by 25, because she gets 5 burst gauge every time she pulls off an ability. I wish that was to everybody, because if it really was, then just her using it is like an extra 15 to everybody on the team. I guess that was deemed too broken. This is one you get from the crossover event if you did well enough on it. I feel I gotta show her off again, just to show off these skills. They're not as great as I thought they would be, but again, she's free, I'm not complaining. Or at least if you did it right. But Intercept is the only thing that really stands out for it. Other than that, it's just a raging nuke. And this is just an AoE nuke. Now this one I also feel like I had to point out because I was using her for a minute. But she gives an attack down, which came in handy for a lot of early fights early on. And she's ARB, so you can get her from the gem gacha, I do believe. But at the same time, she gives a double attack rate up to herself and applies energy drain. Now the deal with energy drain is when she lands a hit, she'll get some HP back. So the more hits she gets off, the more HP she steals. That's the whole reason why she's kind of a noteworthy R character. That's why I had to point her out. I had to specifically point her out for that reason. She's usable. This is another one I've been using. I've recently used in a challenge for an all dark team, all R team. Applies poison and putrefy. She's a good damage over time one. Because they do seem to work at a very high rate. So if you are going for anything outside of them, she's definitely one of the first ones. Like if you're going anything outside of the ones you should focus on, she's one to go out for it. Speaking of which, this is another one I use, and she's somewhat decent too. I think I pulled her from the gym gacha as well. But triple attack damage, so she could do a single target nice damage nuke if there's only one enemy on the field. And then can apply blindness along with damage. But the R characters are more for like the challenges where you have to use them, or if you're a new player starting out. Except for this one. You're going to want to use this one. I cannot stress this enough, and I freaking love her. But she gets the defense up, and this is on the same level as Andromeda's defense up. So I do believe it's like a 20% damage mitigation with this thing on here. And then she's got a stackable attack down. She's the only Kamihime that can do that, last I've checked. And it's 5% every time she stacks it, but it goes up to 45%. You'll probably on average stick this on an enemy like 3 to 5 times before one of them wears off. But if you can seriously get attacks off at a very fast rate, like say for instance you're sitting up doing a challenge where you're only like using like maybe a few Kamihime. Like I've seen somebody use one soul and one Kamihime for a challenge. I can see me using her in that challenge, and she will sip and get minus 45% attack down on her own. Because the attack rates will be much higher, since less people are attacking. But either way, you kind of want her. This is another one I found useful for a while. Defense down on her. That's the only thing I really have to point out. This is kind of crap. But defense down. That's why I had to point her out. I used her for a long time until I started getting better light characters. Because for the longest time, I wasn't getting too many decent light ones. I only had, like, Bella Bog as my best healer. This is another one I feel I have to point out, too, because she's also pretty decent. Because, hey, guess what? Defense down, and she applies a nullify to herself with a double attack rate up. However, the double attack rate is also 1 turn, so keep that in mind. It's more like a dodging counter. But that defense down definitely helped. But that's the whole thing with a lot of these R characters too. They come with some decent stuff, but they're like really, really limited because they're R characters. Like this one, for instance. Attack defense swap for that one, but it's 4 turns. This is the only Kamihime I've seen that had a buff for more than 3 turns, really. Well, there's another one too, but I'll get to her. But at the same time, she's a win raging nuke. That's the reason why you bring her, for you need raging nukes on your win team. But I've used her for a while too, until I got better characters. If you look at my earlier Kamihime videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. This R character, I forgot what you used. Wait, go back to the ability. Okay, drown and damage all. She's not really too worth it. But you can pull her from the gym gacha too. Although, if you don't like certain types of content, be careful when they're seen, because it's not a forced one, but it's questionable territory. Anyways, this one. Pull her from the R Gacha as well. But this is the main reason why a lot of people like her. She's got a rare attack down that's in C frame. So that's one thing. But her heal is pretty mediocre. It's only like 500. If you're just starting off, her heal's decent. But Nikki's already got a better one. But when you start getting a lot of HP like I have thousands of HP. Like, I think the lowest I have on any team is about 5,000 to 5,500 on my fire team. This is one knife of that. And enemies are typically hitting you for like a few thousand. The current bosses for the events hit you for like 2,000 to 3,000. So the heal's mediocre, but it does help. Who else? Who else? She's honestly the first. Like, when I started this a long time ago when the game just came out for us, and we didn't have as much info as we had now. She's the first one I pulled, and it wasn't even from the Jewel Gacha either. But she's got some stuff that's okay, but like the other one, attack and defense, but it's 4 turns. But then she hits everybody. I was using her for a long time until I got better fire characters. But I do believe she's the very first Kamihime I've ever pulled. Ever. So had I known about rerolling and all that, I probably would have done it. But that meant sacrificing some other games that I've been played too, so that's another thing. But anyways, Hestia, this is the only reason why you use her, for the 1-turn attack blocking. So at this point, I do believe there's 5 Kamihime that can just nullify damage for 1 turn. I don't remember what this one does. Okay, attack really goes up based on HP loss and then deals fire damage 4 times. Okay, she's a decent nuke, but she's R, so you know what that means. The biggest thing about R characters is the fact that while you can limit break them easily, they only go up to level 50, which is almost half of what the SSR can do. Not to mention, unlike every other Kamihime, R only gets 2 abilities. Everybody else can get 3. There's a few exceptions why you might want them. Like, this is another one where you might want an exception. Her healing kind of sucks, too. Same level as Zephyrus, but she gets the attack and defense down right here. And a strong one at that. This is on the same level as Sniper Shot from Artanian. That's why I was using her in one of the recent events, the Kyuki event. Like, she gives a strong attack defense down. So that B frame is also covered there. If you don't have Artanian but have her, use her. No, I was using this one for a while too, when I was just starting out. But she's got an attack down, can reduce all damage from taken once for her. And this one, I believe, stays on her indefinitely. So it will just flat out remove all damage the next time she's hit. That's what kind of makes her different from the other ones. Because it will just stay until it activates. But eventually we'll start getting some Kamihime that can do some really crazy stuff too. This is another one I used in that Dark challenge where I had Dark R. But blindness and heal self-attack defense up. That's the only notable stuff. And the attack defense up's only for 2 turns, so it's really neutered. Oh yeah, I'm on page 5. I was using this one just out of curiosity, but she's got some stuff. Attack up to herself when she deals light damage to an enemy. Combo rate up to herself, and got the nullify, but it's still 1 turn. So she's just like her fire version, but she's slightly stronger because of the light attack up. That's the one case where she's better. But again, if you didn't get her, don't worry about it. She's limited. She's not too worth it. This one had some stuff, I remember. Yeah, she can really up her burst gauge rate. Everybody's, in fact. Everybody gets a burst gauge growth rate, and then she also increases her own with that thunder attack. That's what made her kind of worth it. But, again, you'll probably find better. If you got Ramio, she's already better. But her combined with Ramio can get them burst gauges up pretty quickly. I was using her for a slight period, but she gives dizziness. That's the only really noteworthy thing. Maybe ability damage if you get a lot of ability nukers. Now that I got to the R characters, I'm kind of like speeding up a lot because a lot of them have some stuff, but again, they're just neutered. But I've seen people clear content with R characters, high level content with just R characters, so who knows? Now, Perun's definitely using a few people because of the fact of what she has right here. This ability reduces damage taken. Now, here's the thing. Combine this with Gaia, with Joan, but with another soul's ability where they can do that. That is 4 times you can reduce the damage you take. That means at no point should you ever take full damage from an enemy's strong burst. So that combined is a very good defensive setup. That's the only reason why I'm pointing her out. That's the only reason. Because I think one's a minus 20% from the soul. John and Gaia would give minus 40%, and then she gives a minus 25. And they do stack on top of each other, I do believe. But you only really need 2 to just nullify everything. I don't remember what you do. Okay, wind damage. That's all you really got, so skip. Even still, I made it a point to get them all up to a certain level so they can sip and get get the one scene for the extra ability. Just in case. She's got a stackable attack up. But it's just to herself, I do believe. But honestly, combine her with, like if you really want to do a weird strategy of combating her with Sevarog, then I think that would just sip and get her attack up really quickly. So she can get a quick start, but overall, she's going to be weaker. Scaffhalf, I remember, had some good stuff. Guaranteed double and then a defense down. Yes, she had some stuff. Now, would you go for her? Not really. Especially since she's a Gacha R. She's not from the gems. I know for a fact she is not from the gem Gacha. So to be quite honest, if you do try to do the jewel Gacha a lot or the gem or do the premium Gachas, then you'll probably have a lot of these R characters like I did. So roll all attack and defense up, and then fire damage. This is the only reason why you probably use her, and that's not too great. If you do need a fire buffer, then she's probably the way to go if you don't have anything else. I remember this one, and I don't think she had too much going for her. Yeah, she's got a stackable ability damage up and then a defense down. She's kind of crap. And it's rare if I say this, but her harem scene is like, she had it coming. She deserves what she got. There's very few times I can say that. Anyway, Scold. She had something notable, I remember. Yeah, here you go. Remember Snatch? If you ever use any of the Gunner Souls? Same concept. She's the only Kamihime that has that from what I know. So if you really want to stack a whole bunch of Snatch, like, here's the thing I've done before. I had her with Artanian, and Artanian has Snatch second. That is 6 layers of Snatch I can get off on just one burst. And Snatch stacks up to 9 times. But she also can heal herself. So if you're hunting for drop rate items, she's one Kamihime that can help you. But Snatch is just inherently better if you got it from your souls. Cherubim I just randomly pulled one time. These are the only reasons why you sip and use her. She can decrease the mode gauge and also extend the stun status. So she's like Belphegor, only without the buff debuff skill, and at a weaker level. Let's see here, Nibirius. Ah, yeah, this is the reason why you might want to use her, and it's only in very rare situations. Putrefy is not the reason why. That zombie skill is. She's the only one I remember that can do zombie outside of enemies you face. But what zombie does is turn all healing into damage. So hopefully you have a way to remove it off yourself or it just won't even matter by the time. But she can stick that on an enemy and their heals turn into damage. We've faced a few of them that get some insane healing off of their burst moves. This counters that. The only exception to the rule is the fact that in a previous raid that we had, a union raid, while it did turn the healing into damage, you didn't get any participation points for it, so it cut down the possible amount you can get. I think it was the gluttony one where you can do that. But that's the only reason why you need her. If you're facing an enemy that loves healing a lot, and I mean a lot, like a high regeneration, there's a flat, huge healing increase, she's the one to go for. This one, I can call her slightly infamous because I did a video on her harem scene, which just had no logic behind it. But this is the reason why you want her. Mode gauge down, but just like Raphael, she's got that charge reduction. So she's actually worth getting. Just for that charge reduction. I combine her with Raphael, that's an extra 2 turns. Combine that with Mordred, that's 3. But you see what I'm getting at. Some of these R's really do have some really strong stuff that do make them worthwhile. I remember this one did. I was shocked seeing what her stuff was. Like that pool video where I got her, this was insane. She does damage based on lost HP, just like Thor, but heals herself. That is exactly Thor's skill, I just don't know the damage modifier. This is why I was so shocked about her. It's a 12-turn cooldown, but she applies Reflect to herself for 5 turns. So if, say, for some reason she keeps getting hit, she will keep throwing damage back. The only thing is that she's an R character. Otherwise, she'd be very interesting to use. Because there's times I do like some random unorthodox strategies. He's definitely good for one of them. I forgot who this one was, but okay, yeah, see. Lucky, I don't know what that does. But it says fire damage and a chance for damage up. I just don't know what this does. Like, I'll have to get back to you on that one. I really don't know what that one does. But again, she's R-based. And then she seems luck-based on top of it, so I don't think she's really worth it. I was using this one for a while too. I pulled her from the gym gacha. But she kept dizziness and reflect. That's okay, I guess. Believe me when I say this, I had a slow start when I was playing this game because I wasn't pulling too many Kamihime, and then I started adding money to it, and it was like, oh crap, what Kami I got? But this one applies Regenerate, that's the only reason. I don't even know how big of a Regenerate it really is. But Regeneration skills tend to heal a little bit at once, but still heal a lot over time. But you're getting hit in between them, so that's why it's not really too much worth it. Oh yes, we're almost done. Okay, Aurora, I don't remember what you did. Okay, all allies attack up and all allies combo rate. She's an okay buffer, I guess. There's better, but she's an okay buffer. Uranus was already an a better buffer than her because she got what she has and then the damage attack on top of it. I think I pulled this one from the gym gacha as well. But she can heal herself and then recover affliction from people. If you need somebody that removes affliction, she's one to go for. And she's got self-sustain. I don't know why she's mentioned as a healer when she can only heal herself, but whatever. And this one I randomly pulled one time. Now this is where she's a little bit weird. This deals a lot of damage as long as the enemy doesn't have any afflictions. There's a problem with that. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be trying to stack attack or defense down on something, making this a moot skill. Because it'll only go to 1 times damage, usually in those situations, so... That's the only noteworthy thing about her. She's a good nuke if you ain't got any buffs on. Otherwise, she's crap. Aside from the dizziness. This is another one I got from a random event, like the previous Perun. Only, they made it different. This is where I see she can have some use. She can remove an empowerment. This is pretty much, like the light damage and then remove one empowerment. A lot of people love chaos magic from Cassandra, I think her name was. She was one of the healers right before Andromeda. Cassiopeia, that's her name. But that's Cassiopeia's skill only deals damage. But then she also increases everybody's dark resistance for 2 turns, just 2. That's the only reason I can really see you using her. This is just an extra bonus, I guess. But the original one, I do believe, was, the original one was the, defensive nuke all around. Kamihime, I remember I wanted her because she was cute, but she's also got some okay stuff. She can remove all damage from one ally just once, but also increase everybody's fire resistance. Yeah, sometimes I don't even pull for skills, I just pull for looks. Honestly, she's cute, but according to her scene, she's a weird one. Well, not weird, but I'm not going into it. But here's something else that's weird. She can heal one ally. You'll probably be using this for herself because, hey, guess what? She can attract attention to herself. Oh, and the biggest thing I forgot to mention about the coverall allies, too, especially after 90 minutes of this stuff, coverall allies does not help you when you get area nuked. So if the entire team's getting hit, it's useless. But if there's something like random skills or single target, yeah. I've seen people use Puck before, and here's why. Stealth, I do believe, pretty much lowers the chance of her getting targeted, from what I can tell. But this is why people use her. Raging to one ally. So that rampaging definitely helped. Again, I've seen some people use her, but not all the time. Okay, if I want to show off the souls, I gotta go into my edit. But that's the last thing I really gotta do. And there's probably some I can get right now. I got a lot more union points. In fact, at the time right now, it should be on the reset point. So once I hit back to the main menu screen, it should zip and register the next daily login. Okay. Starting off, we're going to sip and look at Arthur, and you already know what it is for her. Her level up bonuses will start increasing her attack power, which is why she's one of the ones with the highest in the game. But, her weapon, I managed to get her attack down, but anyways. She's one of the few Kamihime that, well, she's not Kamihime, but one of the few characters that can sip and instantly fill her own burst gauge. And I mean instantly. We do have a Thunder one, I think. She's either Thunder or Water that can do it right now, but I forgot who. But that's the whole thing with this skill. Burst on demand. And as you can see with this weapon, attack down on demand, which counts in the Dolan frame for some reason when you use it off the burst. But that's what makes her so great about that. Everybody gets an instant 10 just off of hers. Then I can also sip and use this, wait about 6 turns, and then sip and let off burst after burst. I got options. This deals a lot of damage, and this is one of the main reasons why you get hurt anyway, this attack up. Now, I'm not, and I repeat, I am not going to change my soul just yet. I don't know who to go after. Yeah, I got 200 points. Yukimura is learnable. Masamune is learnable. Then there's Hercules and Shingen, which I never really got around to. I'm hearing Shingen's a very good one. She's one I'm going to focus on if I can get... Ah, yeah, see, double and triple rate up. But our master bonus only gives 3%. I gotta get a lot of soul points. I gotta get a lot of holy soul points. I can get the other two, but not her. But yeah, all allies combo rate goes up. Expends her own burst gauge, but all allies burst damage goes up. This is why people wanted her. Your burst damage goes up. And I think it expends 50% of her burst gauge, if I remember hearing about that correctly. But she can damage all enemies of her own element and increase her own burst gauge. And her burst gauge increase rate up is already in effect too, but her burst damage goes even higher. Be quite honest, if you can time it so she can get her burst back in time with everybody else, then this is it's amazingly good. And to be quite honest, that extra ability, if you can somehow get it on a character like Siegfried, then that's insane. Or get Siegfried's ability. Well, Siegfried doesn't even have that shared ability, actually, now that I think about it. But on characters that can stun nuke, like, the possibilities with this is just amazing. This is why she's worth it. Unfortunately, I can't get her. And I'm guessing Masamune and Yukimura are weaker versions of that. I can get Yukimura right now if I really wanted to. Oh, okay. This is what she does. But a burst gauge can go up with that attack. But this ability sends her burst gauge to another ally. You get what I'm thinking on this one? Remember Arthur, who can sit up and fill up her own burst gauge? That combined with this automatically sends a burst to somebody else who you can just sit up and do some crazy stuff with. Now see, these are some burst-oriented souls and they're pretty good. I can see some uses out of these. You hear me coming up with possibilities right now just looking at them, and I don't have them yet. But I definitely plan on it. A wild case burst gauge to all hours. Does that put her own burst gauge to everybody, or just part of it? I don't know. See, I need 400 points just to get her. And then burst gauge up on this one too, of course. Combo rate up. Oh man, there's a lot of possibilities. But you guys see what I'm looking at. And this, oh my god. Hercules, I remember, was a very good one. And that's why I was trying to save up some soul points for her. But I need 400 more. But she can give an attack power increase. Here's where I was trying to save her up. Now, she'll give these up to other souls when I level her up. But reflect, defense up, affliction resistance up, attack power up, combo rate up, burst fill gauge up, and then if you have all of those in effect, hey, guess what? This nukes the ever-loving crap out of an enemy. I've seen it on weaker versions of the other ones, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's doing nearly burst damage on them, so she'll do practically burst damage with that setup. So yeah, there's some possibilities. Some of these souls are trying to get really, really technical, but you can do some stuff. I'm not even going to show off the standard souls, even though a few of them do have some noteworthy stuff. Like, there's your Snatch character. And then, Viviana did, but we've had one. I'll show hers. Yeah, Nullify Affliction for all hours. That was a learnable skill. That's the only reason why I would show off Vivian's, really. Gawain's one I have to show too because of this ability right here. This is where everybody gets ambushed. She's one to go after. Another one of the elites to go after, Cassiopeia. A lot of people love her for this reason alone. Nullifies one enemy empowerment. So when you get nuked and the enemy buffs himself up, yeah, that removes it. Now, another one I think was worth having too. This is personal opinion. Because this is the only time I've really seen it. All ally affliction resistance, she gets that. And then also combo rate down. That's the reason why you want to level Asmund. She gets those two skills. Granuel, I'm not too sure about. Kaguya, forget about her. Granuel really just gets snatched second. That's the only... Oh, no. There's something else. If you haven't worked your way up to Artanian, this is the reason why you get her. Sneak attack. It's weaker than the sniper shot, but it's on the same level as Cybel's debuff, so yeah. But Arthur, we already know. Joan of Arc. There's two reasons why you want her. Aurelian Call. I like this skill because it gives you regen and double attack rate up. It's more effective if you got Joan in the group, but yeah. And then there's Trial by Jury, which is the other really major debuff skill that everybody wants. Andromeda, she's got some useful stuff, but it's better left to her own self because this is a defense up, but I don't really see too many people taking that. This is the one thing that makes her stand out. She's your only means of reviving anybody that you lose. But the thing is, it's a 10-turn cooldown. With her, the party is 8. So, yeah. Solomon Skep, she's only really there for other stuff. Siegfried, now, this is what you really want her for. Unfortunately, she can't share this. But attack up against stun enemies. So she's a very good stun nuker. A very good raging booster too, because everybody gets this one. Combined in tandem with this, which does a crap ton of damage to a raging enemy. She's a very good raging nuke as well. She even got rage throttle to increase the chance of taking you out. But Mordred, another one that people wanted. And I main her mostly. Affliction up resistance. Like affliction resistance up against, like, she'll lower the chances you get hit with afflictions, but lower the resistance for enemies on that one. Another reason why a lot of people like her, black propaganda. This is the thing that extends the whole thing with it. Enemies will need one more turn to get their stronger attack off. That's the whole reason why you want her. She's very good in the event right now. Artanian. A lot of people want her for this one skill and this one skill alone. Snatch Third is definitely good to help because it puts 3 stacks of Snatch on. But this is the reason why they want her. Sniper Shot. And then, I'm hearing that there'll eventually be weapons for the souls themselves, which will sometimes buff up some abilities. I hear this gets insane when that happens. I think it's minus 25% to both. Morgan, I had her, but she's only like single focused attack stuff. Like this guarantees triple to somebody. That's helpful. That's helpful. And it's for a few turns, I do believe. It can up combo rate for a few characters. Heals one ally attack defense up. That's pretty good. Rampages one ally. Makes them do a lot of freaking damage. So yeah. She's helpful if you're focusing on one character. But if you're going to do that, have her in the main slot. Don't use her skills for sad stuff. But that's all I really have for all this. I could go into Union and show off some of the stuff we got for that, but it's not too much really to worry about. But the one last thing I have to go to, and this is a gacha where I have to point this out, there's some stuff you really have to pay attention to, especially if you're a paying player. But the gem gacha. Free players, if you're not adding a single cent to this game, do your daily pull all the time. Because these are your only means of getting R weapons outside of events and stages, trying to grind for them. This is the easiest way to get your weapon skills up, regardless of who you are. So you're going to want to do the gem gacha. I am sitting on almost 400,000 gems, and watch me burn through them to get skill levels up off of this crap. I probably will do a pull video one day of just watching me pull R after R after R just to try to show the rate of how many of them you can get. Magic Jewel gacha. I'm saving up magic jewels just for this. I got an awkward number just because of how they did it for the starter event. But the thing with this is the fact that anybody will want magic jewels just to try and have extra shots at these. The characters that currently have the rates up apply here as well. So this is when you want to save up for something, like when they sip and have Cybele unleashed, she's another one I'm waiting on. I might sip and try and throw a whole bunch of magic jewels at that. I couldn't care less about this gacha right now. So yeah. Premium gacha, self-explanatory, but I wouldn't really worry about it except for one thing and one thing alone, which is why I gotta go in there. This right here. Daily Premium Special. First time you do that, you get half off. That's the only reason why you should be worried about that. Going further. This, if you're focused on certain element teams, pay attention to when they do these. Because they typically do these like around times where it's like if they got a specific event where it's like, oh hey, it's a Thunder Idolin we're going against for this raid event. Well, they're going to put in wind boosted. So that's the time to pay attention to that. And then they might have special stuff like this. This is Affliction ability boosted gacha. I hear that Light Tsukiyomi is very, very paramount for light-based teams, so this is a good time for you guys to try and pull for her. But that's the whole thing with that. And then they got the new character boosted one. I really wish I could have pulled for the Daki one because I want her regardless of how she looks, but her skills still have some help. Her skills still give some good help. But that's something else to pay attention to if there's a specific character you want. Now, the priority between these, I can honestly say is this. For paying players, lowest priority. Just get your free half pull and just call it a day. Specific ones where it's like Affliction resistant or new character, or the Awakening ones if they have those characters. If you want the Awakening character, go after them. Otherwise, these don't have as much priority, but they do have more priority than this one. Elemental-based gachas always have more priority than anything else aside from one thing which you'll see later on. There's also times where they give SSR 10 chain with extra accessories or weapons or whatever. Get those if you really want to, but they don't have much more worth than the premium ones. Other gachas have more worth than those. These are the ones that have the most worth, the ones that give you SSR. Especially if they give you a miracle ticket gacha. If they give you a miracle ticket, go for it. Because that is an SSR of your choice. Otherwise, aim for these. Only these are going to give you some, I think, some elixirs and energy leaves. So they're going to cost more. But guaranteed SSR. And right now, I need Dragonic Eyes as well. So anything that comes out of this gacha is definitely worth it. This, I have one thing that can really shut down that gacha, and that's if I pull another freaking Long. Because I got her at level 100. And that means I pulled her 5 freaking times. That's the only thing that can shut down this gacha. At least for me. But this is top priority. Unless a miracle ticket's around, then you go for that one. But that's all I really have to say about this, guys. Now, one last thing. I have to show this off because I've gotten asked a few questions about this one too. Now, when it comes to upgrading your Kamihime, first and foremost, you're going to want a lot of this stuff on hand. Recent events allow me to rack up a lot of these, so I'm starting to get a lot of energy refills, but I only have one of these because one event killed off a lot of them trying to revive. I'm not trying to throw a Ragnarok fight away after all. I get a lot of these just from the raid stuff. I'm not even using them because they're dependent on other people's raids. Now let an event pop out where it's like, okay, yeah, we can burn out raid points. Like right now, I can probably use these. But outside of it, it's not really happening, and even then, I don't use them too much in the raid events. But this is your main focus on trying to get refills. These tend to come naturally, and this is if you ever happen to get your hands on them. But this is your main focus. Now, I've heard you should save up magic jewels for the gachas. That's all fine and good, but if you are really, really desperate for energy refills, maybe get one or two of these. Not much. Because the magic jewels are better spent for one of two things. The extensions on your slots, because trust me when I say this, when you play this game as long as I have, you're going to need those slot extensions. I'm sitting on a lot of stuff. That's why you see 130 for my weapon inventory. But first and foremost is definitely try to throw them for the gachas for all that stuff. If you're really going to throw out your magic jewels for anything other than the gachas, do it for the extensions. This is the last resort. Never go after those. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated. You have to grind these things from different sources. Now, I can say without a doubt that you can get this whole first set of stuff, and they're all for the same different elements too. The first set of stuff and these from the daily quests. But you won't get as many of these from the higher level ones, and these can drop from raids as well. These all can drop from raids at a certain chance. Who knows? But grind those out as best as you can. The only ones that are specific to raids only are these claws, or these fangs, or whatever they're called. Yeah, fangs. And I don't find too many of them. They have a really crap drop rate. Maybe that's why they got the gold background. But these things, there's two specific items that are specific to the raids. Each single raid. You have to do these at some point to up your Kamihime. There is no avoiding them. Even the R Kamihime needs some of these at the third break. So you want to max out your Kamihime, there is no avoiding those. For instance, that's the reason why I can't up Thor right now. But there's an idea core for each one. You get all your idea cores from them raids. Like I said, the reason why I cannot up Thor right now is because I'm lacking in these. I don't have enough of these. And they don't drop as often as the other ones. Just like these don't drop as often as those. It's the same case. The only other things you might be looking forward to is these right here. You get them from Ragnarok fights. By suggesting you hold on to them. Do not use them for the grails. Hold on to these from those Ragnarok events. If you can clear Ragnarok stages, whether you need an elixir or not, hold on to those. Save them for the Dragonic Eye shards. Because Dragonic Eyes are very hard to come by. And then there's like pounds and pounds and pounds of these from events that they just never removed. So if they ever rerun the events, don't worry. Your supplies are still there. Unless there's unless there's these things right here. Because these things don't stay. Those do, but these don't stay. And then some of these came from storyline. Yeah, those came from storyline. Now, these things right here are definitely the most potent things in the game right now that you're going to need. If you somehow manage to pull a Kamihime weapon that more than once is SSR, you'll get one of these instantly. Otherwise, you'll be doing weekly quests, sometimes get them in events to get these. And like I said, the one thing you can trade for some of these at times, 10 of these makes one of those. You will need these to awaken Kamihime. And immediate targets for Kamihime to awaken, I would say out of the top 5, I do believe Soul is number 1, Gaia is number 2, and then tied for 3 to 5 is depending on who you need most. But that could be Sevarog, Thor, Osiris. I don't know if Osiris ever gets one, but eventually she would, because she's a Dark Healer and they're rare. Um, Crap, I can't remember her name. She's a fire one too. A fire healer, I do believe. I forgot her name though. She's related to Susanoo. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on her, but that's the whole thing. I don't have her. Amaterasu. I just remembered it. Yeah, Amaterasu is a very good target. I heard Satan and Hades are good targets too. But Gaia and Soul are definitely top 2. Save those up for those guys. And then the other stuff you might be getting to, you can get these from the daily quest. Any of them will sip and drop those, so yeah, keep that in mind. I tend to get a lot of these lower ones from the raid events too. But these are the other things you're going to need. Now, if you just have SR and not SSR, you can skip these gold books for now. I was still trying to get some if they hand them out to you, but don't make them priority. Like in the advent events, don't trade for these unless you absolutely have nothing else you're worried about. But you're going to need these for every single Kamihime that's SR or above. Except for the ones that can't awaken. The SSR that can't awaken, you won't need those. But you'll need these for all your SSR to try and get them to full potential. Because stats aren't too relevant, but their abilities are. And to get the most of their abilities, you need level 75 for SSR, 65 for SR, and 45 for R characters. Those are the only times you're going to need those. But that's how it goes down for that. And then tickets, if you have them, usually be there. This is where you go to select your miracle ticket. This is the only reason why I showed this tab. But anyways, this video's going on for long enough. Almost 2 freaking hours of me showing this off. And this is the whole reason why I just didn't want to do this until I had a lot of stuff. I don't plan on doing this again for a long time. But that's all I have to really show off, guys. I've been sitting here for a while. I even told you at the very beginning, it's a very, very long ride. So thank you if you stayed around the whole entire time. And then I'll try to pinpoint the specific points of this video to try and get them separated to jump ahead to certain parts. But anyways, that's all I have for this. And of course, expect more of this game because it's my most viewed game. And that's one last thing I want to say, which isn't Kamihime Project specific, but this game tends to get more views than the others, which is all fine and good. But like other YouTubers I've seen, I've got to mention this too because I feel the need to. There's other games I also play which I wouldn't mind getting more views on as well, just to show that people are interested in them. Because I tend to post a lot of stuff regardless of interest, but it still feels good to know that others are watching my stuff too. So, games that you might want to pay attention to more than just Kamihime Project, Rebless, because I will eventually do a walkthrough on how to navigate the menu there and stuff to try and build up characters. I don't have full info because it's in Japanese. You might want to pay attention to Flower Knight Girl because I've been coming up pretty strong on that one. I have a stupidly strong lead team that is over 140,000 attack power. 140,000 power they have at least. And then on top of that, they're all 6-star. I got them all from guaranteed pool tickets. And they're all magic based too. When I can sip and get them to bloom, they'll get really stronger. I'll eventually have more stuff for like Old Sword. Heck, give the game I'm creating more support. I've got videos of how it looks and everything too. And then how the older one looks, which you could still download and play while you're waiting for the upcoming new one. But anyways, I got other videos than just Kamihime Project. Please check them out. But anyways, that's all I have for this, guys. Thank you so much if you stayed this entire time, and take care.